President Donald Trump arrived in Beijing on Wednesday without a personal airport welcome from Chinese President Xi Jinping, as closely watched diplomatic optics once again drew global attention today. Instead of Xi, Trump was received by Chinese Vice President Han Zheng, along with senior foreign affairs officials and the US and Chinese ambassadors. It looks like a carefully calibrated protocol decision rather than a diplomatic slip. And Islamabad. PTI on Wednesday defended MNA Iqbal Afridi's son, who surrendered his passport and sought asylum in a European country, saying he had no other option left to prevent detention and harassment. The matter came to light during a recent meeting of the National Assembly Standing Committee on Interior, where State Minister for Interior Talal Chaudhry alleged that MNA Iqbal Afridi's son had sought asylum in Italy.
The European Union's health agency, ECDC, said on Wednesday there was nothing to suggest that the Andes strain of hantavirus had mutated following a deadly outbreak of the illness on a cruise ship. The deaths of 3 passengers from a rare hantavirus outbreak on a cruise from Argentina to Cape Verde sparked international alarm. A major ranked officer was among 5 soldiers martyred during an area sanitization operation in Balochistan's Barkham district, said the Inter-Services Public Relations, ISPA, on Wednesday. At least 7 terrorists were also killed during the operation.
And Catherine, Princess of Wales, has been given a rapturous welcome in Italy on her first official overseas trip since being treated for cancer. The British Royal is on a 2-day solo working trip with the Royal Foundation Centre for Early Childhood, which she launched in 2021 to raise awareness of the importance of early childhood on later life outcomes. And as many as 1,700 passengers are being held on board a cruise ship in southwest France after dozens of cases of possible gastroenteritis on board. The ship, named Ambition, was scheduled to sail around France and Spain after picking up passengers from the UK cities of Belfast and Liverpool on May 8 and May 9. And the University of Southern California has been selling bodies donated for scientific research and education to the United States Navy. Some are being used to train Israeli military surgical teams in Los Angeles, all without the donor's consent. Watch the AJ Plus documentary here and read students reporting here.
Reform UK leader Nigel Farage is facing an investigation by the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards over a 6.7 metres, £5 million gift from a party donor, days after the anti-immigrant party emerged as the biggest winner in local and regional elections. A spokesperson for Reform UK denied any wrongdoing on Wednesday, telling the Reuters news agency that Farage has always been clear that this was a personal, unconditional gift and no rules were broken.
And electronics manufacturing giant Foxconn, which makes devices and components for Apple, Google, Nvidia and Sony, among other tech giants, confirmed on Monday that it was hit by a cyber attack that may have affected some of its factories. In a statement sent to media outlets, Foxconn said that the cyber attack affected facilities in North America and that the affected factories are currently resuming normal production.
Anthropic is looking to court smaller companies. To that end, the company announced Wednesday the launch of Claude for Small Business, a new suite of services designed for customers who less resemble Walmart and Starbucks and more resemble the local hardware store or coffee shop. So far, much of the most intensive AI adoption has occurred at the enterprise level. In the recent past, studies have shown that most companies that scaled AI systems beyond experimental or pilot-level integration tended to be large companies with expansive budgets. This appears to be changing somewhat, that as smaller and mid-sized businesses are seeing greater adoption.
And gunfire broke out at the Philippine Senate and people ran for cover after a top politician, wanted by the International Criminal Court, ICC, said his arrest was imminent and security forces entered the building on Wednesday. There were no immediate reports of casualties. However, Senate Secretary Mark Landro Mendoza told reporters following the chaos at the legislature in the capital, Manila.
That Britain's anti-immigrant party Reform UK said on Wednesday it was talking to the parliamentary watchdog following a report that its leader, Nigel Farage, was being investigated over a £5 million, 675 metres gift, which he did not declare. After the BBC reported that Reform was being investigated by the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards over the donation, Reform, the biggest winner in local elections last week, confirmed it was discussing it but said no rules had been broken.
And a woman is isolating on the Pitcairn Islands, a remote British overseas territory in the South Pacific, after travelling on a hantavirus-hit cruise ship. A local government spokesperson told the BBC the person had contact with a hantavirus-exposed individual, but was showing no signs of illness. And a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse has told how the late sex offender sexually abused her while he was under house arrest for soliciting prostitution from a minor, Rosa, who was recruited from Uzbekistan as a teenager by Epstein's associate and modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel, spoke publicly for the first time alongside a number of victims in a field hearing that was organized by House Democrats.
That at least 12 people have been killed in 7 separate Israeli airstrikes on cars south of Beirut, Lebanon's health ministry says, as the war between Israel and the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah continues despite a ceasefire. 8 people, including 2 children, died when drones targeted 3 vehicles on the coastal highway in the Barja, Gia and Sadiat areas, around 20 kilometers, 12 miles, from the capital, according to the ministry.
And a South Carolina court has overturned the 2023 murder convictions of Alex Murdaugh, a disgraced lawyer who was convicted of killing his wife and son. The state's Supreme Court on Wednesday ordered a new trial for Murdaugh over the June 2021 killings.
That, as the United States-Israeli war on Iran approaches its 12th week and US President Donald Trump declares his nation will win the war one way or the other, a sports facility in the US state of Arizona awaits the Iranian football team before the FIFA World Cup. Tucson, an oasis of civilization in the Arizona desert, is to be the base camp for Team Melli when the world's biggest sporting spectacle opens in the US, Mexico and Canada next month. That Argentina head into the FIFA World Cup 2026 as the reigning champions after dethroning France at the CAW World Cup 2022 to win their 3rd title. Their great South American rivals Brazil are the most successful team in the tournament's history, having won the title 5 times.
And Russia has tested a new intercontinental ballistic missile as part of its efforts to modernize its nuclear forces, and President Vladimir Putin has hailed the launch just days after his claim that the fighting in Ukraine is nearing an end. This is the most powerful missile in the world, Putin said of the Sarmat missile on Tuesday, adding that the combined power of its individually targeted warheads is more than 4 times that of any of its Western counterparts. And French authorities have temporarily prevented 1,233 passengers and 514 crew from leaving a British cruise ship docked in the southwestern city of Bordeaux after nearly 50 suspected gastroenteritis cases were reported on board. The vessel, the Ambition, was carrying mostly British or Irish nationals and 1 French person and had travelled from Belfast and Liverpool before arriving in southwestern France on Tuesday evening.
That US House lawmakers are demanding representatives from Instructure, the twice-hacked education software maker, testify about the company's response to cyber attacks that allowed hackers to steal the personal data of millions of students worldwide. That the House Homeland Security Committee is investigating the hacks and data breach as it has jurisdiction over government activities relating to Homeland Security. The committee's chair, Representative Andrew Garbarino, that wrote in a letter to Instructure Chief Executive Steve Daly. US cybersecurity agency CISA has been called in to help with the incident.
And the Securities and Exchange Commission officially proposed last week to weaken the quarterly reporting standards for publicly traded companies. So far, and public comments submitted to the financial regulator about the idea are overwhelmingly negative. But the best objection was filed yesterday by the popular subreddit Wall Street Bets. And the community of approximately 18 million retail investors on Reddit argued in the unsigned letter that quarterly financial filings, known as 10Q filings, are the single most important leveling mechanism between retail and institutional investors in U and S equity markets. And another year, another massive influx of capital for Anduril. The funding round that was rumored to be in process in March has officially closed. Anduril has raised a $5 billion Series H round at a $61 billion valuation, and led by returning investors Thrive Capital and Andreessen Horowitz, the company announced Wednesday. This is more than double the valuation it landed just under a year ago, when it raised $2.5 billion at a $30 and $5 billion valuation led by Founders Fund. Founders Fund invested a $1 billion check, the largest check it has ever written, it told TechCrunch at the time. And whether you like it or not, Amazon continues to put AI at the center of the shopping journey. The company announced Wednesday Alexa for Shopping, its new personalized AI shopping assistant, powered by Alexa Plus notably, and the experience will replace Rufus, its generative AI shopping assistant that launched in 2024. According to the company, Alexa for Shopping is designed to offer a voice and touch-enabled shopping experience across mobile, desktop, and an Echo Show smart displays. While Rufus focused on helping customers discover and compare products, and Alexa for Shopping is meant to provide more personalized recommendations and automate the shopping experience across Amazon and other online retailers. And IQO has confirmed that the IQO 15T will launch in China on May 20 at 7 p.m. local time. The company also shared a teaser video revealing the phone's design and several key specifications ahead of the announcement. And Pakistan Railways earned a profit of 2.41 billion in 2024-25. The Ministry of Railways told the National Assembly, marking the second consecutive year the state-run entity has remained in the black. In a written reply submitted during question hour, the ministry said Pakistan Railways posted revenue of 93.60 billion against expenditures of 91.18 billion during the fiscal year.
That Samsung has expanded the stable One UI 8.5 rollout for the Galaxy Z Trifold to additional markets. The update was initially released in South Korea last week, but it is now also available in Singapore, Taiwan, and the UAE.
And authorities have introduced key measures to ensure transparency in matric practical examinations, including a strict ban on practical record books purchased from the market or prepared by someone else. Muzamil Mahmood, chairman of the task force on examinations, has directed that only those candidates will receive marks who prepare their practical copies themselves. And Lenovo is returning to the smartphone market with the updated Legion Y70, which is scheduled to launch on May 19. The company teased several key specifications last week, and more details about the 2026 model have now been confirmed. And Islamabad, months after postponing local government polls in the federal capital for the fourth time, and the Election Commission of Pakistan, ECP, has directed the Interior Ministry and Islamabad administration to immediately issue notifications on town corporations' limits and union councils for polls, and warning it would fix the matter for a hearing if there was no progress. Chairing a meeting, and Chief Election Commissioner Sikandar Sultan Raja said holding local government elections was a constitutional requirement under Article 140A of the Constitution, and further noting that local governments were functioning in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Sindh and Balochistan, but elections could not be held in Punjab and Islamabad due to changes in local government laws.